Tamo, by any chance, do you know? Okay, yes, we are live now.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back today. Today we have with us Hammer from Fraser International College. Welcome, Hammer,
Thank
and
you for having me.
Utkarsh from Navitas Delhi office.
It's
Welcome
great
to
to have
all of you, and welcome respected designates. So today, after spending 5 days on webinars, four different cities: Calgary, Waterloo, Toronto, Winnipeg. Today we move to Vancouver, which to me is one of the most beautiful cities in the world which I have ever visited. I still remember Vancouver's city center. It's beautiful. The seaplanes, you can see the seaplanes from the city center. You can see beautiful sunset from there. So Vancouver is home to, I believe, highest number of Punjabi population also in Canada. I think so. I might be wrong. Toronto can also be is a contender, but Vancouver is the place where the oldest settlement from India came in. There is still a memoir to Kamagata Maru ship, which landed there more than 100 years back, and that is a legend for Punjabis also. Uh, Vancouver, which is also designated as a student city, uh, actually, Vancouver does not need any selling. It itself is a product which every North Indian knows, especially every Punjabi knows. While Simon Fraser University is one of the top universities of the world, amongst top five in Canada, you can say top three, four in Canada, it's equal to UBC also. Fraser International College, which we are today discussing about, is the pathway to Simon Fraser University. It's an esteemed university wherein only the students who are ranked very higher ups get admission directly to Simon Fraser University. So, welcome again, delegates. We start our segment first. We start with the first segment. Uh, as you all guys know, Vancouver is one of those cities everyone has heard of. No introduction to Vancouver. But if I want to go beyond the postcard for a student from India who's making serious academic and financial decision, uh, what is Vancouver actually like to live and study in, and where does Simon Fraser University sit in that picture?
All right, that's an amazing question. So, Vancouver offers a very unique offering that students would not be able to get in any of the other cities in Canada. You can get, so our students get to live in get to live in a metropolitan city where they get the hustle and bustle of any major city in the world. You become a part of a diverse neighborhood, each with its own vibe. Restaurants from every different cuisines, music venues, art galleries, tech companies, film production, and nightlife. On the other side, you'd be surrounded by mountains, forests, and ocean. It's just a 20-minute drive from downtown Vancouver to go to hiking trails with views of the North Shore Mountains. You can kayak in the morning before your class, climb a mountain on the weekend, or just walk through parks like Stanley Park. The natural landscape isn't something you visit on vacation. It's actually part of your everyday life in Vancouver. Now, uh, I think one of the biggest selling points about Vancouver is also its weather. Right? I've had the pleasure or the honor to attend a lot of different webinars and fairs where I got to interact with parents and students. And the first thing that goes into their mind when they hear Vancouver is how cold when they hear Canada is how cold Canada is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys Canada's not cold. No, Canada is very, very cold. The only difference is that Vancouver is known to have the mildest winters across the whole of Canada. All right. So just to put it into perspective, uh, during winter, cities in Canada would go from minus 22 all the way to minus 35, and that's the whole of Canada. While in Vancouver, it goes to plus one. Now, I'll take it one step further so that you guys can understand a little bit more. Uh, I am an FIC and SFU alumni. My brother studied with me in FIC, and my brother, being the smart young man that he was, and this is me being totally sarcastic here, used to walk from residence to his classes at FIC wearing flip flops during winter. And my brother did not do this once. My brother did not do this twice. This was something my brother did frequently. The reason why I share this with you guys is because if it was very cold, my brother would have learned a very good lesson and never repeated that again. But the fact that my brother kept on repeating that just shows how easy it is for any student from any corner of the world to adapt to the winter conditions in Vancouver compared to the rest of Canada. Now, to move to the second part of the question about SFU. SFU's ranked top 2% worldwide rankings. It's also number one comprehensive university in Canada, and it's been number one for 17 out of 18 years. It's number one in innovation in Canada, and SFU has all these amazing rankings. But if you ask me, the biggest selling point about SFU is its core program. Co-op is nothing new. A lot of universities offer co-op, but how SFU stands out is that majority of universities offer co-op for 10, 20, maybe 30 programs. But in this case, SFU offers co-op for all the programs that they have. What that means for our students is whether a student wants to do history, whether a student is studying history, whether a student is studying math, whether a student is studying gender studies or English, they have the opportunity to do co-op in those programs, unlike other universities. Thank you.
I think, sorry, you're
I'm audible now.
leaving.
Number one in innovation, you said that's quite a bold claim. That's something that's an achievement to be, say, put up on the main drawing room wall also of the university. But what does that actually mean for the students who are studying there, who are sitting in the classroom of SFU? How does that innovation ranking translate into real experience?
Okay, so innovation rankings, the way it's calculated is through research, industry partnership, and cutting edge work. Now, the way it translates for our students is that our students learn about what's happening right now in the world, not theory from years ago. Our students also get access to state-of-the-art labs and buildings designed for innovation. They will be working with current technology, not outdated equipment. Also, SFU partners with tech companies and startups, and through co-op and capstone projects, students will be solving actual problems companies are facing, which is what will make them employable. Our students are also pushed to challenge assumptions and approach problem creatively. Thank you.
So, Utkarsh, your views on that?
I think adding more perspective towards international students, Vancouver being a very, like, I would say, within Canada, one of the biggest tech hubs where all these big companies will be present all around the university. So there's Amazon, Google, all these big companies. In fact, EA, like the gaming companies like EA, all of these companies are there. Slack is there, Apple is there. I think more than 1,000 companies are there. So any student who's thinking first, to get that kind of exposure, and especially when we talk about Vancouver, just to add about the destination, like there's a slight comparison always. Right now the tech salaries in India are also increasing. So for example, any good tech salary is somewhere between 20 to 25 lakh rupees in India. But when you travel abroad, there's something called a local market rate, where the employer has to pay for that market rate. And the local market rate for Vancouver, if we check on internet, somewhere between 80,000, 90,000, or 100,000 Canadian dollars just to start with. So these employers are competing with each other so that they get the best talent for themselves, because the engineers are very important. So I think destination wise, SFU being tied up more than, I think when I was reading, it was like more than 15,000 companies tied up with SFU. They have put their co-ops programs so that students can work into those companies and get the maximum out of the university. So it gets the international exposure, plus they will give that experience of working, because a 12th graduate in India has no experience at all other than writing their exams. There are less projects. It's more of a rote memorization, where you go travel to Canada, it's very difficult to find a working experience, a practical skill based experience. And these co-op programs specially offered by SFU, because when you research a little bit, I've always urged the students, this university is compared with British Columbia, so University of British Columbia, and at times lot of locals in Canada have preferred SFU over UBC. Primarily it's because of location, and again, given the price point and the fees that the university offers these programs for, it is one of the best options one can get into.
Great. So let's get into academics. What I'm made to understand is that SFU is a large research university. So, what kind of students, which stream students watching the show today, should be paying serious attention to FIC?
So, to answer your question, FIC is a mirror of SFU. So all the programs that are offered at SFU are also offered at FIC, with the exception of the Faculty of Education. That is about it. So under the undergraduate degree, we have over 250 plus programs that are broken down into 8 faculties. That would be a very long list for me to go through, but I've got the course list over here. So just give me a second so I can share my screen. Sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. I hope you guys can see this. Can you guys see this?
Yep. Now
Right.
I can see it.
So these would be the programs that I was talking about, and all the programs are normally housed in what we call a faculty. So we'll start with the Faculty of Communication. Let me just try zoom this in. I hope you guys can see this. So under the
Yeah, if you
Faculty of
can zoom
Communication,
a little bit more, Thamer, sorry to interrupt.
for sure. So under the Faculty of Communication and Art and Technology, we've got contemporary arts, which is broken down into visual arts, product design. I'm just going to mention a few. I'm not going to go through them all, but you guys can see it on the screen. Product design, music and sound, film. Under communication, arts and technology. Under communication, we've got social justice, we've got data and technology, media production, we have got public and environment communication, communication and policy. Under IT, we've got creative media, human-centered AI and data science, extended reality and game design, web and mobile development. Under the Faculty of Environment, we've got archaeology, which houses forensics, biological anthropology and archaeology. Under urban worlds, we've got urban change. Under resource and environment management, we've got sustainable development, sustainable business and planning. We've got physical geography, and under environment science, we've got envirometrics, we've got applied biology, water science, and I've already said envirometrics, sorry. Now, under the Faculty of Science, we've got kinesiology, which is one of major programs under the Faculty of Science. We've got data science. We also have actuarial science. We've got biological physics, biological science, and molecular biology and biochemistry. Under the Faculty of Health Science, we have social inequality. We've got global health, health policy and system research, and infectious diseases. Now, under applied science, this is the faculty that we see majority of our students apply to. We've got computer science. We've got computer science dual degree with Zhejiang University in China. We also have mechatronics. Mechatronics is a very, very popular engineering program. It is an engineering program that combines 3 different engineering programs together. That would be computer science, electrical, and software engineering all put together. We've got biomedical engineering, computer engineering, electronic engineering, system engineering, sustainable energy engineering. Under arts and social science, we'd have economics, criminology. Let's see, what else? Social science, international studies, and yeah, and you guys can see the rest now. The second most popular program would be a faculty would be BD School of Business, where we've got accounting, finance, international business, innovation and entrepreneurship, management information system, marketing, operation management, and finally strategic analysis.
Are these programs, starting from international year one, accessible to all the students, or like when they progress, is it in second year?
All accessible from first year of university at FIC, International Year 1.
Wow,
Okay.
that's something. One course which I got it from the explanation you gave was sustainable energy engineering. That's
Right.
something which I did not hear from any of the universities we previously did the webinars with. So tell me something more about this. What is this, and how does this help students with careers?
Okay. Uh, Sustainable energy engineering, students should care about this because the world is moving towards clean energy, renewable technology, and sustainable solutions. Before this used to be a niche market, but it's not the case anymore. Right now, it is where the jobs and investments are, and SFU is the pioneer of that in Western Canada. So we were the first ones in Western Canada to offer that.
I think it takes from Vancouver also. Vancouver is the greenest city
It
across
is.
Canada is so sustainability has its own importance within the city where all those tech companies, even EV companies are there. So given it gives employment, so for a very large community, like I think it's more than 300K people working just in sustainability as a sector, and that goes on increasing. The rate of increase is somewhere around 20% or so every year. So given 20% increase in the job opportunities once the student graduates in 2030 can create a huge lot of employment opportunities, especially in Vancouver for sustainability related programs, because the projections are high.
Right. So the next question is very regular, which we have been asking all the representatives in all the webinars, and I believe the audience would be knowing the answer, but still I'll ask you. Uh, like students can go directly and apply to Simon Fraser University. So why should they route it through FIC? What are the benefits? What's the pathway gives to the student?
Sorry, is that
Simon, should
question?
you want to take it, or I can take it? Any of
Go
us?
go
I
for
can
it.
discuss. You'll be
Sure,
yes,
I'll take
Utkarsh.
it. Sure, I'll take it. So let's say a student decides to go directly to Simon Fraser University. Number one, the primary requirement that they need, first of all, it's a very competitive school. So it's like one of the most elite schools across Canada. It's 1.9% in top globally. So not easy to get admissions into. So at least by bare minimum academically, just give you a rough idea, is you need 80% to 85%. And with some programs, you need even more just to get into that university. Second, you have to pay the application fees, etc. When you apply to FIC, that requirement goes down to 65%, and in some programs, 60%. So if you're falling somewhere between 65% to 80%, you have a chance to get into one of the best universities in the world, that too, one of the biggest cities, just like New York. That is same as Vancouver. You get to study there if you have scored less. Again, for any student who's scoring between 70, 72%, I always regard as that they are career driven. And specifically, I would not rank the student as are they capable or not? They're obviously capable. So FIC as a school gives them that opportunity that you can get into through your first year study in FIC and later progress into SFU. The degree you get is from SFU directly. The FIC campus is in Burnaby only. It's in the same campus as SFU. So it's like from day one, you are a SFU student. You have all the email IDs, you have all the accesses. So that's primarily the academic thing. There's a second route where if the student has scored even less than 60%, FIC give this option as a foundation program where they do a trimester, 2 trimesters, or 3 trimesters more just to meet the requirement. So if they are 50% or around 50%, they still have a chance to study at SFU. Again, SFU has all the access to one of the top elite employers. So when you ask work from an employer, when you reach out to employers, all the Western universities have that face value. In a smaller class size, when you study in FIC, you build more networks and contacts compared to when you go in the first year to SFU. The class size might be as big as 200 or 300 students. You're passing, failing, nobody cares. That is a very honest answer. Your professor might not know you by name, but when you study in FIC, you get that personalized attention where, let's say, you're struggling with statistics. It's a difficult subject. There are a lot of students who have given this feedback that our professor helped us by giving this extra classes, giving extra time, and held us before we progress into SFU. Again, English requirements more humble than first year SFU. The English requirements, I think Thamar will be the best one to describe what the English requirements are. So if you could explain to the students the exact requirements.
All right, for sure. Now, before I get into that, I would like to address or just add a little bit more to what my colleague was saying. Now, sometimes we see students, it's not only from India, from all over. In high school, they did not take some specific courses. Now, I'll give you guys an example. Engineering, our requirements is that a student needs to have a math and 2 sciences. Sometimes we see a student maybe did not take a math in high school and they want to study engineering. Then what happens to that student? Universities tend not to accept that student. Well, with us, the student would still be accepted into International Year 1 as long as they meet our minimum admission requirements. And they would have to take 1 extra course with us to make up for that math course. And I'm using math as an example over here, just an FYI, so that students would be able to take that 1 extra course at FIC, which would be the course that they were lacking in high school, so that they can make up for it. All right. There is a way that I normally like explaining why FIC, right? And normally when students come to study abroad, students normally give up a lot of privileges that they have back home. Excuse me 1 second. When students come to study in Canada, they tend to give up a lot of privileges that they had back home. Number 1, support of their family and friends and relatives, their community. The education system that they had back home, they're giving that up now to come and learn the Canadian education system. The weather, right? India is very hot. They come here. Canada's during winters a little bit cold. It is cold. Students are giving up a lot. Now, the best way I can explain this to you guys so that you guys can understand why the FIC pathway is whenever a team goes to play a game that is away, the team that has the advantage is always the team that plays at home. In this case, the team that's playing at home are Canadian students. They're not giving up their family. They're not giving up their friends. This is the same education system that they were raised in, same environment that they were raised in. So in those terms, Canadian students are playing at home. International students, on the other hand, are the ones that are playing away, and that's not a fair game because the team that's playing at home always has the advantage over the team that's playing away. Now, by the time when students come to study at FIC, after they complete that 1 year and they transfer to SFU, it is not home versus away anymore. It is home versus home, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because in majority of the institutes, international students are put together in a class with Canadian students, and the lecturer goes at the pace of the Canadian students, not the international students. So that's not a fair advantage to international students. That is the best way I would explain why FIC. Now, regarding our English entry requirements, we do have 3 different entry requirements. Number 1, it would be cornerstone entry, where a student with a 5.0 average in IELTS with no band less than 4 would get into. Now, for cornerstone entry, what that means is that the student would have to do an extra 1 semester of English at FIC. The next one would be integrated entry. Over here, the student would have a 5.5 overall with no band less than 4.5. Now, for the students under integrated entry, this student would have to take 1 course alongside their university classes. Now, Cornerstone adds 1 semester. Integrated just adds 1 course alongside your university classes. All right. And finally, we've got the direct entry, where the entry requirement is 6.0 overall, with the minimum 6.0 in reading and writing and 5.5 in listening and speaking. Thank you.
Right. One thing which I noticed on the website also and in your presentation also, Thamer, was guaranteed transfer. This is very important line, guaranteed transfer. Can you exactly tell me, are there still any conditions, or what does this mean exactly? Any asterisk upon that terms and condition apply in very small fonts written below, or is it really guaranteed transfer?
Perfect. I think in the role that I've been doing, which has been for over 6 years, you'd be the first person that has actually asked the definition of that, right? So that's an amazing question. Now, when a student applies to FIC, let's take a step back, okay? When a student applies to FIC with all the required documents, the letter of offer that student receives from FIC is normally a combined letter of offer from both FIC and SFU, right? The only difference is that the FIC section of that offer would be an unconditional offer, while the SFU section of that offer would be a conditional offer. Now, once the student signs that letter of offer, the student would be accepting admissions into both FIC and SFU. Now, for the student to change the SFU side of that offer, because I said it was a conditional offer, for the student to change that to an unconditional offer, the student has to meet a specific CGPA requirement based on the program that they're studying. Now, an example for business, the the CGPA requirement would be 3.2. For arts and social science, communication, art and technology, and anything else with arts in it, the admission requirements would be 2.5. And for anything that has science in it, which would be engineering science, computing science, environment science, health science, the admission requirements for that would be 2.75. Now, what the guarantee means is that once the student gets that CGPA of 2.75 or 2.5 or 3.2, which would be stated in the letter of offer, then that guarantees them transfer into SFU. Now, I'll explain this a little bit further. Students can go study anywhere and choose to transfer to SFU. Students do not necessarily have to study at FIC. They can study anywhere they want. They can study in India if they'd like and transfer to SFU to maybe their 2nd or 3rd year. Now, the only catch is, let's just say the student is transferring into business, where the CGPA requirement is a 3.2. That would be a minimum CGPA requirement. What that means is if SFU has 200 seats for engineering, and 300 students apply. The top 200 are the ones that will receive an offer. The bottom 100 would not receive an offer. At FIC, whether you receive 3.2 or 3.55, which doesn't exist, all of you would be accepted. There's no student that would be left behind. And that is the guarantee that we give our students, that the CGPA requirements is not competitive. It's the CGPA requirements that is stated in the letter of offer.
Okay. All right. So coming to the financial part, I fairly understand that Vancouver is one of the expensive cities in Canada, like Toronto and Vancouver, the bigger cities. So they ought to be expensive cities. So could you throw some more light on the tuition fee and the living expenses and any scholarships which are available specifically for Indian students?
For sure. So for our international year one, which is our first year of university, and that is basically 3 semesters or 3 terms. The tuition fee for that would be 39,162 Canadian dollars, while our foundation program, which is 2 semesters, would be $28,967. And finally, our Associate of Arts degree, that would be also 39,162 for 1 year, but the Associate of Arts degree is a 2-year degree. So each year would cost the student roughly 39,000. Regarding scholarships, we are offering up to 5,000 Canadian dollars in scholarships. Right now, I'll take it one step further for you, SFU residents. SFU residents, that would cost the student around 7,000 Canadian dollars for 1 semester. Right? But the advantage of staying in SFU residence, unlike other universities, is that $7,000 would cater for your housing and your meal plan. Now, what that means is your room is single occupancy. You are not sharing that with any student. A lot of universities have room sharing. At SFU, you do not share. It is just you yourself, single occupancy. Now, I'd just like to put a thought in all of your minds right now. Imagine sharing a room with someone where the alarm goes off at 5 in the morning because they've got to go study. Or someone goes out, comes back drunk while you're asleep and you've got class exams the next day, and they cause all this chaos for you. At SFU single occupancy, what that means is you have your peace of mind, and you do not have to deal with coping with anyone in that room apart from yourself. Number one. Number two is our meal plan. Our meal plan, SFU dining hall, is open 24 hours. What that means is that students can walk in there 20 times a day, eat 30 times a day, no questions asked. And SFU dining hall caters for every student's dietary needs. It doesn't matter what dietary needs you have, they will cater for it. We had a student 2-3 years ago that was a Jain, from India, that was Jain. I believe that's someone please
that's a
jump in and help
community.
me out. Sorry?
That's a community basically. They don't eat onions
And they are totally
garlic.
vegetarians.
Yep.
Exactly. So SFU dining hall still catered for that student's dietary needs. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the meal plan over here, other universities would charge you for meal plan, let's just say $2,000, all right? But that $2,000 would be put as a credit. What that means is each time you go into the dining hall and you get food, they charge you for it. So if the meal that you got is $15, they'll charge you $15. And a lot of students run out of it. Before SFU put in the unlimited meal plan, that was when I was a student. They put it after I graduated. Right? So my dad always used to have to top up in between the semester so I can keep on eating in the dining hall. Apart from that, I would have to get food from outside. Let's say if it's late night, and I've just pulled an all-nighter studying and I'm hungry. What happens to me? I've got to swipe my credit card to get food from outside. So SFU makes sure that the students are very, very comfortable when they stay there. It is a little bit more expensive, but you're paying for your comfort. That is what is important over here. And with 7,000, there's no extra costs that a student would have to pay, unlike with other universities because of the meal plan. If the student finishes the funds that was located towards the meal plan, all that ends up adding up. Now, if students are looking for a cheaper option, SFU does have townhouses. Now, for townhouses, students would be looking at around roughly $4,000 a semester. But all new students have to stay in towers in the first semester, which comes with a mandatory meal plan. So after the first semester, students can choose to move to the townhouse. Now, townhouse, once again, it's $4,000 for 4 months. So what that it breaks down to roughly $1,000 a month. And it doesn't come with a meal plan because townhouses come with its own kitchen. So students can choose to move in there with their friends. Townhouses is normally 3 floors. The bottom floor is a living room and a kitchen. First floor is 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Second floor is another 2 bedroom and a bathroom and 1 bathroom. So a student can choose to move in with 3 of his friends into a townhouse. Right? Finally, I totally agree that Vancouver is expensive. That is not a lie. I totally agree that Toronto is also expensive. But I would like to debunk this stereotype, right? Now, Vancouver is expensive. Nobody's going to take that away, right? But then we need to also look at other factors over here, right? Now, the cost of living in Delhi is more expensive than the cost of living in Pune because Delhi is a bigger city than Pune, right? What that also means is because the cost of living is higher in Vancouver, the salaries have got to be higher to be able to match that because the salaries are determined by the cost of living. Now, if you go choose to live in New Delhi, you know that you'll have to pay a lot towards the cost of living, but your salary makes up for it. If you choose to live in Pune, then your salary is going to be lower, and your cost of living is also going to be lower. So yes, cost of living is higher, but salary is also higher compared to the other small cities in Canada.
I would also
Right.
like to break that perception also. Like when I see this as a whole total proposition for entire 4 years, I sometimes feel the cost is almost equal. And just correct me if I am wrong, please, Thamma, because you know the real data. First thing, what I assume is Vancouver, the minimum wage is higher than any other place. Like it's between $17-18. So I'm
Yes, it
assuming
is.
a student is working 24 hours. Let's not assume they will get work for 24. Let's just take a rough, on a humble side, 20 hours a week. And they're working for somewhere around maybe let's say 8 to 10 months. So they're earning somewhere between 8 to 10,000 or 12,000 a year. Again, they're getting these co-op opportunities where again the earning potential for co-op compared to any other co-op in any other university is a little higher than others given the weight. So I can assume that will be somewhere around 10 to 15,000 per term, depending upon which co-op they get. Maybe it's a 4 month or 8 month or maybe 12-month co-op. So again, that adds to 10 to 15,000 dollars. So 10 to 15 plus again 10, $12,000 is somewhere around 20, $22,000 that they get as a set off from their fees, and their fees if they get the scholarship is somewhere around 35,000. So the net figures is somewhere between 12,000 to 15,000 as a tuition that they pay. So considering all the circumstances and considering the student is active enough, I think the original real cost to study in Vancouver can be set off provided they are on the right track and they apply for those opportunities. But obviously, correct me if I am wrong somewhere in the calculations or if the student is on track for everything.
Based on the calculations, yes, you would be correct. But then also, just for the record, that would just be. I'm not gonna count co-op over here because co-op students would do it in their third year. Uh,
Okay.
but part-time work would just cover the students' accommodation and day-to-day expenses.
Okay. Okay.
Right. One question which I understand, but still I'm asking because it would be going around in the minds of many students. Like yesterday, we were with the University of Manitoba. Their annual fee is somewhere around $21,000, and SFU's FIC's annual fees is about $35,000. So it's basically a difference of about more than 50%. So how do we justify that? Yes,
Thamam, would you like to
Utkarsh?
take it up? Okay. I'll. So basically, with Vancouver and Manitoba, there are two different provinces. Again, the premium that the student is paying is for two reasons. One, the employer connections that SFU has with all these co-op related employers. That's one primary thing, because when you step out internationally, one thing is you have to increase your chance for employment and better upscaling when you start working. Second thing is the opportunities, like I mentioned, the circle rate, the local market rate for that employer, for employer to compete for you basically with other employers. Vancouver provides better opportunities. So that premium, I wouldn't say it's, the cost is less. It's a good amount of premium that the student pays, definitely. But again, depends, is the student looking at the cost, or the student is serious about getting the right kind of opportunities. So there comes a choice for the same student, what they want to choose. Is ROI the biggest factor that they want to consider for a particular university when they are traveling abroad, working or living abroad or studying abroad, or they want to get into the biggest cities where comparatively the opportunities will be high? I won't deny there is a significant cost difference. So again, the choice depends on the student, what kind of student it is, and what is their main preference when they select the university.
All right. Uh, Hammer and Utkarsh, like previous four universities we have been discussing, everybody has been speaking about co-op. But FIC says they give co-op with every single course. Every single course they're offering is co-op enabled. What does that mean, and how does it span? And are these co-ops paid also, or are they only voluntary?
All right, perfect. Now, I talked about this a little bit earlier on. Now, SFU has over 250 undergraduate programs. I'm not counting masters, right? And they offer core for all these programs, all the 250 programs. So as long as a student chooses to study at SFU, they have the opportunity to do core if the student would like. Now I'm going to explain. I'm going to go a little bit further about core. SFU, to start with, SFU has two different corps. The first corp would be where they give opportunities for to students to work in these big name companies or startups. That's the first one. The second one is called an e-co-op, which is entrepreneurial co-op. Now, what entrepreneurial co-op is, it's basically a student has an idea, a business idea, right? The student doesn't need to wait till they graduate to execute it. They can do it for their co-op, where the student would be connected with a mentor and also get paid at the same time to launch their business. Now, I know co-op is something very, very major, and a lot of students tend to ask, how much can we make by doing co-op? It varies. We've got students can make up to 14,000 Canadian dollars a semester, so in 4 months. All right. Now, there is another thing that I'd like to talk about. I strongly recommend all my students not to graduate from SFU before they do co-op. When students graduate and they're looking for jobs, co-op is normally counted as work experience. Now, when you graduate and you're looking for a job, majority of these jobs would ask for work experience, and co-op does count as work experience. So by you doing co-op, you would be setting yourself apart from other graduates that just graduated without co-op, without doing co-op. That's number one. Number two, the amazing thing about doing co-op is you can look into doing co-op at your second year, but you can only do co-op at the start of your third year. Right now, what's going to happen is that you can go and sit down with a co-op coordinator in your program, where the co-op coordinator is going to bring all the job opportunities related to that related to the program that you're studying, and all of you, by all of you I mean you and the co-op coordinator, would choose the jobs to apply to together. So the co-op coordinator will be there to advise you and guide you through that process. That's number one. Number two, the co-op coordinator will help you build your resume. And the co-op coordinator will prepare you for interview questions, such that once you're called for an interview, you have all the skills that you require to convince the interviewer why you're a perfect fit for that company. Now, this might not sound significant, but let me try and make it significant for you. Once you graduate and you start looking for a job, the fact is that you will have to apply to several jobs to be able to land or to be able to be hired. All right. Now, to be able to be hired, what you need is to know how to build your resume. Because every job that you apply to, you'd have to tailor your resume to that specific job. So, number one, you'd have to know how to build your resume. Number two, you'd have to know how to answer interview questions. These are very crucial skills that students need when they graduate to be able to land a job. Now, when you opt for doing co-op, you will not apply for one co-op opportunity. You will apply for several co-op opportunities. What that means is that you will brush your skills of building your resume and the interview questions. Right? And these are the skills that you require when you graduate to be able to land a job. So it is very crucial for students to be able to do co-op. And it's something I recommend all my students to do. It does have its benefits. You do get paid for it, you know, but there are more benefits that outweigh that. Number one. Number two, in terms of co-op opportunities, I like sharing stories about my students and the co-op opportunities that they managed to land through SFU. My very good friend from Kenya that is called Zishan Manji did his co-op with Apple. My brother's roommate, my brother studied with me, but we did not live together. My brother's roommate did his co-op with Microsoft. And the reason why I'm bringing my brother's roommate up is because he did his co-op with Microsoft in Seattle, so in America. Right? Now, what that means is that our students are not tied down to doing co-op only in Vancouver. Students have the option to do it in Canada if they'd like, anywhere in Canada. And if they desire, they can also choose to do it outside of Canada. Another student called Adebi from Nigeria did his co-op with EA Games. And after he completed his co-op, which was 1 year, EA Games gave Adebi a letter. And basically in that letter, it stated that you have a job waiting for you in that company when you graduate. So Adebi went back to finish his studies. And as you finish your studies, you are still working in that company part-time. If they give you an offer, they give you a part-time job till when you graduate so that you can join them full-time. All right. Apart from that, I had a student from Pakistan His name's Muhammad that did his co-op with Tesla. And finally, I've got a student that's called Siddharth Gupta. I always loved sharing his story. Siddharth Gupta did one semester with Deloitte, and then he did one semester with BlackBerry, and then 2 semesters with Deloitte. Siddharth Gupta also at the end ended up receiving a job offer from Deloitte at the end of his co-op. So he went back to school and was working with Deloitte part-time till he graduated. Then he joined them full-time. Deloitte ended up being bought out by Microsoft. So he ended up working for Microsoft a little bit. After that, he started window shopping just to see what opportunities are out there. And he ended up landing a job with Amazon, where the signing bonus for that was 40,000 Canadian dollars. That was just for him to agree to work for Amazon. They paid him 40,000 Canadian dollars. Right? Those are the kind of opportunities that SFU opens up for its students. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, Canadian dollar 10,000 to 15,000 per co-op term. That's good amount that can help the student in meeting up certain expenses like a portion of the tuition fee, etc. So, Utkarsh, quickly your take on this.
I think really well made opportunities waiting for the students, where you have a chance to study for 4 years. Along with that, after your second and third year, you can work, and after working, you can again, if possible, get an offer from the employer. Just to sum it up, and then for next 3 years you have the opportunity, and if your employer agrees, they are ready to sponsor you. And then again, it opens the route for PNP, which is like very famous in British Columbia. A student can be, if they are in tech, they become immediately eligible for it within couple of months, or I think a year or so. And then they can plan their future in Canada.
So, last question of the webinar today. Guys, Hammer, you can relax after that. I know it's quite early morning with you. One student's graduated out of SFU. He's got a few co-ops under his belt, SFU degree. What is the realistic salaries or realistic jobs a student could expect? What's the reality after completing the graduation?
The fact of the matter is, and if anyone says otherwise, then they would be dishonest. The fact of the matter is, once a student graduates from university, the jobs that they'd be applying to are entry-level jobs. By that, I mean, let's say if a student graduated with an engineering degree, then they would be joining an engineering firm at an entry-level job in engineering. And then from there, the more that they build the skills, the higher that they can climb in the ladder in terms of a position and in terms of a salary. Now, in terms of companies, Vancouver is known as a tech hub, right? But the fact of the matter is, as much of a tech hub it is, right? These tech bros or whatever you want to call them, right? They still need business analysts over there. They still need sales representatives. They still need people in finance to be able to help them run the other side of the business that they do not have experience or knowledge with. So what that means is, no matter what you study in SFU, there is a market for you in Vancouver.
Just to add on to it, I would just share a bit, because Tamer has almost covered everything. Some facts that I was going through. If we can share the screen, I would just like to share a mid-sized software company. Just give me a heads up if you're able to see it or not. Are we able to see it?
No.
No, sir. Here it is.
So this is just a company in British Columbia, Burnaby only. When you go down, this is very good for students. Just check where the students studied, the employers working. So basically, the people who are working in this company, 20 of them are from Simon Fraser University. Let's go on to this distribution branch also. Again, you'll find 101 students studying in Simon Fraser universities. So that kind of outcomes, I would say a student can expect, and all these graduates, then they go into good mid-size or big size, maybe software companies, maybe different companies. This is just wanted to show them what the data speaks for themselves.
Great. That was some beautiful statistics, Utkarsh. So 6 days, five universities. We've seen universities with $21,000 fees. Today was $35,000. Um, each one, but that's all very real stuff. Pathways, experiences, co-ops. Uh, but I would say just see your budget, see what your family can afford to. Just don't go by that I have to study at an expensive university. Not always, but see your budget, see your family's budget, see your aspirations. Just make sure that you can make out the expenses, because once you go out of the country, it is very difficult. Things are not easy. Co-ops, yes, the universities offer, but then again, you can't just rely on co-op. You have to have backing from your family back in India. So always keep that in mind. So tomorrow would be the final day of our university section. Tomorrow we'll be hosting Western International College from Western University in London, Ontario. So going back to Ontario, and I believe it's 4.5 hours time difference, Tamer, or 5 hours?
It's 4 hours.
4 hours. So going, the clock will be 4 hours back towards Ontario. And Western University again is one of the premium universities, one of the jewels in the crowns of Navitas. So tomorrow we'll be discussing that. And Tamar, thank you very much for joining in today. But we have few questions also. There's a question by Manjeet. It's how much gap is acceptable for undergraduate courses? Are there any specific guidelines?
Now, uh, regarding gap, students can have a gap of up to 5 years, but then the fact of the matter is, if that the fact of the matter is, it would give you problems when applying for a visa. So it's something
All right.
that I would not strongly recommend. You know, students tend to graduate, and please correct me if I'm wrong, at the age of 19, maybe 18. Right. So if you graduated at the age of 18 and you've got a gap of 5 years, and I'm not good in math over here, that should be the student would be
23, yeah,
22 years of age.
yeah.
At that age, a student should have already completed an undergraduate degree. Now, if you're coming to apply for an undergraduate degree at the age of 22, then that is considered a red flag for IRCC.
Okay. There's one more question. This Aman is there. He or she, I don't know. He had a visa refusal from Australia in April 2026. Will this have any negative impact on my application if I apply to FIC? May I answer this?
Please go for it.
So, Aman, you got refusal from Australia in April 2026. Everybody knows Australia is giving refusals left, right, and center. But that I don't think impacts your application to Canada. My suggestion is just declare this refusal when you apply for Canada. Declare this to the university, declare this to the immigration, and attach the refusal letter. And if you think there were some issues which were unaddressed in the previous applications, try and work on them and address it in the new application. And I'm sure you'll get the visa through FIC is one of the premium products. It has a very high visa success rate also. Make sure you tell the embassy and the university that you had a previous refusal from Australia. And I can tell you that's not a sin. That was chance you didn't get the visa. So maybe a better future lies for you in Canada. So that brings us
Well
to
put.
end of this session. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Looking forward to sending few more students to FIC. And Thamar will be bothering you with any more questions we do have. Thank you, Utkarsh.
You're
Thank you,
more
Thamar.
than
Take care.
welcome.
Have a good time.
Always
Cheers.
a
Have a
pleasure.
lovely day, guys. Bye bye.